The distress signal, 770 words. The story opens on Luna Station, humanity's primary deep space monitoring facility. Communications officer Jake sits at his console during the night shift, scanning through the usual cosmic background noise. The station hums with quiet activity as other technicians monitor various sectors of space. At 0347 hours, Jake's equipment picks up something unusual, a faint but structured signal from the outer rim of the galaxy. The transmission is clearly artificial, repeating in mathematical patterns that suggest intelligence. Jake calls over his supervisor, Commander Torres, who immediately recognizes the significance. The signal translates to a desperate plea for help. An unknown alien species is under attack by hostile forces. Their planet is dying. Their people are fleeing, and they are broadcasting to anyone who might listen. The message includes basic star charts showing their location, a system nearly 40 light-years away. Within hours, the Discovery reaches Earth's United Space Command. The alien message reveals that the senders call themselves the Keth, a peaceful species that has lived on their world for thousands of years. They describe their attackers as the Hunters, a nomadic race that consumes entire worlds and enslaves survivors. The Keth message explains that they have no weapons, no military, and no experience with warfare. Their civilization focused on art, science, and peaceful exploration. They built their cities in harmony with nature and never imagined they would need to defend themselves from such brutal enemies. Earth's leaders face a difficult decision. Humanity has only recently developed faster-than-light travel, and their fleet is small. The journey to the Keth homeworld would take weeks, and there is no guarantee they would arrive in time to help. Many argue that humanity should focus on defending Earth rather than risking their ships for unknown aliens. However, Captain Reed of the UES Defiant argues passionately for a rescue mission. He points out that if the Hunters consume entire worlds, Earth could be next. Better to fight them far from home than wait for them to arrive at humanity's doorstep. The debate rages through the night in the Emergency Council session. Some members worry about the risks of contact with alien species. Others fear that humanity's military is too small to make a difference. The aliens could be lying, it could be a trap, or the situation might already be hopeless. Dr. Walsh, Earth's leading xenobiologist, studies the alien transmission carefully. She notes that the Keth language shows remarkable complexity and emotional depth. Their mathematical concepts are advanced, suggesting a highly intelligent species. Most importantly, their descriptions of their world and culture ring true. These are not the words of conquerors trying to lure victims. As dawn breaks over Geneva, the United Space Command reaches its decision. 3 ships will be sent: the UES Defiant, the UES Hammer, and the UES Shield. Each vessel carries a full crew of 300, along with humanity's most advanced weapons and defensive systems. Captain Reed prepares his crew for departure. Many of them are young, untested in real combat. They joined the space service expecting to explore new worlds and make peaceful contact with alien civilizations. Now they are heading into what could be humanity's first interstellar war. The ships launch from Earth's orbital shipyards as crowds gather to watch. News networks broadcast the departure live, with commentators debating whether humanity is making a heroic gesture or a fatal mistake. Some call the crews heroes, others call them fools. As the 3 ships engage their faster-than-light drives and disappear into the void, Jake continues monitoring the alien distress signal from Luna Station. The Keth messages are becoming more desperate. Their outer colonies have fallen, and the Hunters are closing in on their homeworld. Time is running out. The final scene of Part 1 shows the human fleet racing through hyperspace, while the Keth continue their broadcasts. The aliens have begun sending personal messages, parents saying goodbye to children, lovers separated by evacuation, and leaders trying to maintain hope as their civilization crumbles around them. Unknown to both humans and Keth, the Hunters have intercepted the alien transmissions. The predatory species is curious about these new voices they detect in the signals. They begin to wonder what other worlds might be listening, and whether those worlds might be worth investigating after. They finish with the Keth. The part ends with Captain Reed staring out at the stars, knowing that humanity is about to face its greatest test. In just a few days, they will discover whether the species from Earth has what it takes to stand against the darkness that threatens to consume the galaxy. The rescue mission has begun, but none of them truly understand what they are flying toward. First contact in battle, 770 words. The human fleet drops out of hyperspace at the edge of the Keth system. Captain Reed's sensors immediately detect massive ships surrounding the alien homeworld. The hunter vessels are unlike anything humans have seen. Dark, twisted metal that seems to absorb light rather than reflect it. The Keth planet shows signs of devastation. Orbital stations are burning wrecks and the surface glows with fires from destroyed cities. Refugee ships flee the planet in desperate streams, only to be hunted down by smaller hunter craft like wolves chasing sheep. Reed orders his fleet to maintain distance while they assess the situation. The hunters have dozens of massive ships, each one larger than any human vessel. Their technology appears more advanced, with weapons that tear through Keth shields like paper. The human ships are detected almost immediately. The hunters send a transmission, their first contact with humanity. The message is simple and chilling. New prey detected. Surrender your ships or be destroyed. Your species will serve or die. Captain Reed responds with humanity's first words to a hostile alien species. This is Captain Reed of the human space fleet. You are attacking an innocent species. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. The hunter response comes in the form of 3 massive warships breaking away from the planetary siege. Each ship is 5 times larger than the human vessels, bristling with weapons that spark with unknown energy. Reed knows his fleet is outgunned, but he also knows something the hunters don't understand yet. Humans come from Earth, a death world where everything evolved to fight, survive, and never give up. While the Keth built their civilization in peace, and the hunters rely on overwhelming force, humans learned to win through cunning, determination, and sheer stubborn refusal to quit. The first battle begins as the hunter ships open fire with massive energy beams. Reed's fleet scatters, using their superior maneuverability to avoid the heavy weapons. The human ships were designed for versatility rather than raw power, and they dance between the hunter fire like fighters against heavy bombers. The UES Hammer takes the first hit, its shields flaring as exotic energy washes over the hull. But the ship holds together, human engineering built to withstand Earth's violent weather, crushing gravity, and corrosive atmosphere proves tougher than the hunters expected. Reed orders his fleet to target the hunter ship's weapon systems rather than trying to destroy the massive vessels entirely. Human missile strikes focus on sensor arrays and gun batteries, using precision rather than brute force. The hunter ships begin to lose their coordination as their targeting systems fail. Meanwhile, the Keth refugees witness something they have never seen before. The small human ships refuse to retreat despite being vastly outnumbered. Instead, they fight with a ferocity that amazes the peaceful aliens. Every time a hunter shot damages a human vessel, that ship seems to fight even harder. The battle reveals fundamental differences between the species. The hunters are used to prey that either flees or submits. They have never faced opponents who become more dangerous when wounded. The Keth are amazed by human tactics, using debris as cover, coordinating attacks with split-second timing, and exploiting every weakness in the enemy formation. After 2 hours of combat, the 3 hunter ships retreat back to the main fleet. They have taken significant damage while barely scratching the human vessels. The hunter commander realizes these new aliens fight like nothing they have encountered before. The Keth immediately begin sending grateful messages to the human fleet. Their transmissions are filled with wonder at humanity's courage and tactical skill. They offer to share their scientific knowledge and cultural treasures in gratitude for the rescue attempt. Captain Reed responds with characteristic human directness. Save the thanks for after we win. We're here to help, not to trade. The human fleet begins rescuing Keth refugees while preparing for the main battle. Reed knows the hunters will return with their full force, and humanity's 3 ships will face an entire invasion fleet. But he also knows that humans have something their enemies lack: the absolute refusal to abandon those who need help. As Part 2 ends, the Hunter fleet begins moving toward the human ships. The aliens have decided that these new opponents are too dangerous to ignore. They will crush the humans completely before continuing their harvest of the Keth world. But in their ships, the human crews prepare for the fight with grim determination. They came here to save innocent lives, and they will not leave until the job is done. The real battle is about to begin, and the Hunters are about to learn why humans are called Deathworlders. The Deathworld Advantage, 770 words. The Hunter fleet advances in formation, 47 massive warships moving like a wall of death toward the 3 human vessels. The Keth refugees watch in terror, certain that their brave rescuers are about to be destroyed by overwhelming force. Captain Reed addresses his fleet. Remember, we're not trying to win a fair fight. We're trying to win, period. These things have been bullying peaceful species for who knows how long. Time to show them what happens when they mess with predators from Earth. The human ships split up, forcing the Hunter fleet to divide their attention. The UES Defiant heads directly toward the planet, drawing half the enemy fleet. The UES Hammer and Shield circle around the system's asteroid belt, using the rocky debris as cover and ammunition. The Hunters begin their attack with coordinated volleys from their energy weapons. The space around the human ships lights up with deadly fire. But the humans dance through the bombardment, using evasive maneuvers that seem impossible to the watching aliens. What the Hunters don't understand is that human pilots trained in Earth's gravity wells, dodging hurricanes, and navigating through asteroid storms that would terrify other species. The violent conditions of humanity's homeworld created reflexes and skills that no peaceful civilization could match. The UES Hammer demonstrates human ingenuity by using the system's asteroid belt as a weapon. The ship's mining lasers, originally designed for asteroid extraction, slice through space rocks, sending fragments flying into Hunter formations at incredible speeds. The simple tactic causes massive damage to ships designed to fight other vessels, not natural debris. Meanwhile, the UES Shield uses a trick that would horrify most civilized species. The human ship deliberately flies through the corona of the system star, using the solar radiation and magnetic fields to mask its approach. The maneuver would cook most alien crews, but humans evolved on a world where radiation exposure was a constant threat. The Hunter fleet finds itself fighting an enemy that breaks every rule of civilized warfare. The humans use tactics that seem suicidal to species that evolved on peaceful worlds. They ram damaged enemy ships with their own vessels, sacrifice themselves to save their comrades, and fight with increasing fury as their losses mount. Captain Reed's ship leads the charge toward the planet, drawing the attention of the Hunter flagship. The massive enemy vessel could destroy the human ship with a single shot, but Reed has no intention of fighting fair. He broadcasts a message to all ships. If you want to be the apex predator, you have to beat the current champion. The Defiant begins broadcasting human military music, war songs from Earth's bloodiest conflicts. The sound of human voices singing about courage, sacrifice, and victory fills the communication channels. The Keth refugees listen in amazement as these strange aliens sing while fighting for their lives. The battle reveals the true nature of humanity's advantage. While other species developed technology to avoid conflict, humans developed technology to win conflicts. Every human system has a backup, every weapon has multiple uses, and every crew member is trained to fight even when their ship is falling apart around them. The Hunter commander finally realizes what they are facing. These are not the soft, peaceful species they usually prey upon. These are apex predators from a death world, and they are fighting to protect others with the same ferocity they would use to protect their own young. The tide of battle begins to turn as human tactics start taking their toll. Hunter ships designed for overwhelming firepower prove vulnerable to precision strikes and unconventional attacks. Their formations break down as human ships dart between them like angry wasps attacking giants. The UES Shield completes its solar pass and emerges behind the Hunter fleet, its hull glowing from the heat, but its weapons fully charged. The ship begins systematically destroying hunter vessels that are focused on the other human ships. The maneuver is so audacious that several hunter captains simply cannot believe what they are seeing. As Part 3 ends, the hunter fleet is in full retreat. Over half their ships are destroyed or disabled, and the remainder are fleeing the system. The 3 human vessels are battered and damaged, but they remain operational and defiant. The Keth refugees flood the communication channels with messages of gratitude and amazement. They have witnessed something their peaceful civilization never imagined. A species that fights not for conquest or resources, but to protect others who cannot protect themselves. Captain Reed surveys the battlefield and knows the fight is not over. The hunters will return with more ships, and word will spread through the galaxy about the aggressive new species that dares to challenge the established order. Humanity has announced its presence to the universe in the most dramatic way possible. Galactic consequences, 770 words. News of humanity's victory spreads through the galaxy faster than anyone expected. The Keth, in their gratitude, share the story of their rescue with every species they encounter. Within weeks, the tale of the Death World warriors reaches dozens of civilizations across the galaxy. On Earth, the United Space Command receives communications from alien species that humanity never knew existed. The messages range from grateful thanks to worried inquiries about human intentions. Several peaceful species request protection from the hunters, while others ask if humanity is planning to expand its territory through conquest. Captain Reed's fleet remains in the Keth system, helping to rebuild orbital defenses and establish early warning systems. The Keth share their advanced scientific knowledge freely, and human engineers work alongside alien scientists to create hybrid technologies that combine human durability with Keth precision. Dr. Walsh, monitoring communications from Earth, makes a disturbing discovery. The hunter fleet that fled the Keth system didn't simply retreat. They went to gather reinforcements. Intelligence reports suggest that a massive hunter armada is assembling, possibly the largest military force in their species' history. The Yao hunters have never faced serious resistance before. Their usual tactics involve overwhelming single worlds with massive fleets, enslaving the survivors, and moving on to the next target. But humanity's interference has disrupted their entire strategy. They cannot allow other species to believe that the hunters can be defeated. Earth's leaders face a difficult decision. They can recall the fleet and focus on defending the home system, or they can commit to protecting the growing alliance of species that are looking to humanity for leadership. The choice will determine whether humans become a galactic power or remain isolated on their home world. The debate is settled when the Keth share intercepted hunter communications. The alien predators are not just planning to recapture the Keth system, they intend to track down and destroy Earth itself. They view humanity as a threat that must be eliminated before other species get similar ideas about resistance. Admiral Martinez, Earth's senior military commander, authorizes the deployment of humanity's entire space fleet. 15 ships launch from Earth's orbital yards, carrying the planet's most advanced weapons and its most experienced crews. They know they are still vastly outnumbered, but they also know that retreat is no longer an option. Meanwhile, something unexpected happens throughout the galaxy. The Keth story inspires other peaceful species to begin preparing for war. Civilizations that had surrendered to the hunters decades ago begin organizing resistance movements. Species that had hidden in remote systems start building weapons and forming alliances. The Vrex, a species of engineers who had been enslaved by the hunters for 50 years, stage a massive rebellion. Using stolen hunter technology combined with their own innovations, they destroy 3 hunter worlds and free millions of slaves. Their message to the galaxy is simple: if the humans can fight them, so can we. The hunters respond with typical brutality, but their tactics backfire. Every civilian population they massacre becomes a rallying cry for more species to join the growing resistance. The galaxy begins to remember that predators only remain apex as long as their prey refuses to fight back. Captain Reed receives a communication that changes everything. The Galactic Council, a loose organization of peaceful species that had remained neutral for centuries, formally requests human representation. They want to discuss creating a mutual defense pact against the hunters and other aggressive species. The council meeting takes place on a neutral station in the galactic core. Captain Reed finds himself representing humanity before dozens of alien species, each with their own fears and motivations. Some want human protection, others want human weapons, and a few are clearly testing whether humans can be trusted with galactic politics. Reed's speech to the council is characteristically direct. "We didn't come here to rule anyone or conquer anything. We came because someone asked for help. That's what we do. If you want to stand together against bullies and predators, we're with you. If you want to use us as your personal army, find someone else." The council votes to form the Galactic Defense Alliance, with humanity as one of the founding members. The treaty commits each species to mutual defense and the sharing of military technology. It also establishes rules of engagement designed to prevent the kind of brutal warfare that the hunters practice. The final battle and New Dawn, 770 words. The final confrontation takes place in the void between star systems, where the massive Hunter Armada meets the combined Galactic Defense Alliance fleet. The numerical difference is still overwhelming. 200 Hunter ships against 30 Allied vessels. But the smaller fleet has advantages the Hunters cannot comprehend. Captain Reed coordinates the Alliance fleet from the UES Defiant, now upgraded with Keth shield technology and VREX weapons systems. Each ship in the fleet represents a fusion of different alien technologies bound together by human tactical thinking and the shared determination to end the Hunter threat forever. The battle begins with the Hunters employing their traditional, overwhelming assault. Massive energy beams lance across space designed to cripple enemy fleets before they can respond effectively. But the Alliance fleet scatters according to human doctrine, refusing to present a single target for the Hunter weapons. The Keth ships use their advanced sensors to coordinate targeting data across the entire fleet. The VREX vessels deploy innovative shield harmonics that deflect Hunter energy weapons. The liberated slave soldiers fight with desperate courage, knowing that defeat means a return to bondage for their entire species. But it is humanity's contribution that proves decisive. Human crews have taught their alien allies the most important lesson from Earth's violent history. In war, the side that refuses to quit usually wins. Every Allied ship fights as if the survival of their entire species depends on their individual performance. The Hunter commander, confident in his overwhelming numerical advantage, makes the fatal mistake of underestimating his opponents. He orders a traditional frontal assault, expecting the smaller fleet to break and run. Instead, the Alliance ships advance to meet them, using human-developed tactics that turn the Hunter's size advantage into a liability. The Allied fleet employs coordinated strikes against specific Hunter formations, concentrating their firepower to destroy enemy ships, one at a time, rather than spreading their attacks across the entire armada. The strategy requires precise timing and absolute trust between different species, something the individualistic Hunters cannot match. As the battle progresses, the tide slowly turns. Hunter ships begin falling to focused Alliance attacks, while the smaller Allied vessels use their maneuverability to avoid the heavy enemy weapons. The space between the fleets becomes a graveyard of burning ships and debris. The turning point comes when the UES Defiant leads a desperate charge directly at the Hunter flagship. Captain Reed's plan is audacious even by human standards. Ram the enemy command ship and destroy their fleet coordination. The maneuver requires flying through the concentrated fire of dozens of Hunter vessels. The Alliance fleet provides covering fire as the Defiant makes its run. Keth ships sacrifice themselves to clear a path, while VREX vessels use their engineering expertise to keep the human ship operational despite massive damage. The final approach becomes a testament to the courage that brought these species together. Reed's ship crashes into the Hunter flagship just as its weapon systems fail. The collision destroys both vessels, but it also eliminates the Hunter fleet's command structure. Without coordination, the massive armada begins to break apart as individual ships make their own decisions about whether to fight or flee. The remaining Alliance ships press their advantage, systematically destroying Hunter vessels that choose to continue fighting. Many Hunter ships attempt to flee, But the Alliance has prepared for this possibility. Pursuit squadrons track down the escaping vessels, ensuring that the Hunter threat is ended permanently. As the last Hunter ship is destroyed, the galaxy falls silent. For the first time in centuries, the predatory species that terrorized peaceful civilizations is gone forever. The victory belongs not to any single species, but to the Alliance that chose to stand together against tyranny. The aftermath brings profound changes to galactic civilization. The Galactic Defense Alliance becomes a permanent institution, with Earth serving as one of its founding councils. Humanity's role as protectors and tactical innovators is formally recognized, though humans consistently emphasize that their strength comes from cooperation rather than conquest. The rescued Keth establish a new homeworld with human assistance, creating a society that blends their artistic traditions with practical defense capabilities. The liberated slave worlds begin rebuilding their civilizations, supported by Alliance resources and protected by the new mutual defense treaties. Captain Reed, promoted to Admiral, oversees the establishment of joint training programs where human military doctrine is shared with Alliance species. The programs emphasize not just tactical skills, but the human values of courage, sacrifice, and the protection of those who cannot protect themselves. The story concludes with a new distress signal reaching Earth, another peaceful species under attack by unknown aggressors. But this time, the response comes not just from humanity, but from the entire Galactic Defense Alliance. The age of isolated civilizations falling to predatory species is over. The final scene shows Alliance ships launching from a dozen different worlds carrying crews of multiple species united by a common purpose. Humanity has taught the galaxy that strength comes not from being the biggest predator, but from standing together against those who prey upon the innocent. The Deathworlders have become the galaxy's guardians,